Apparently we're live. I went a bit earlier because I'd done everything that I needed to do. Hello everyone, I am Pedro. And this is Pedro's Cavern. Let me sort the mute out on there because I'll just get feedback otherwise. So I don't know if this is working. Hello. I don't know. It's Friday night. And Friday night's all right for fighting, as they say. So, yeah. Yeah, I was going to try and do this earlier, but I've had to put antibiotics in my eye because I've got an eye infection, which sucks. So I had to leave it long enough after the last time to be able to put the second lot in. Let me move this down a little bit. I think it's a bit too high. There we go. That's better. So yeah, that's why it's a late one tonight. I was going to start at 9 because we ate food a lot earlier than normal tonight. Hello, the 3 people that are watching so far. Welcome to movie night. Friday night, movie night, chat night, thingamajigs. I'm Pete, aka Pedro from Pedro's Movie Cavern. I didn't go live last night because I was editing something. And I'm not surprised that, well, we had quite a few, like, reviews, not reviews, but views. I say I had quite a lot of views on the last one, which is pretty cool. Let me bring that up. I don't know why, but my laptop's going really, really slow today. Let's go to the channel. Probably because I've spent the last, I don't know how many hours editing a video together from clips that I've had to source from DVDs. What is that? Is that closed? That's better. So the last one had 129 views, and there was quite a few streamers, well, quite a few people watching. Not anymore, there's not. 182 on the first stream, 129 views on the last stream. Yeah, so the whole point of this stream is just to talk about movies like we did the other night, and it was really, really fun, and I enjoyed it. And I think whoever else was on there enjoyed it. So drop me some questions, or just have a chat in the chat box. It's entirely up to you. Yeah, I could just be talking to myself. I don't know. Yeah, I do smoke, but the vape actually helps. So what's everyone been watching? Anything fun? I was going to watch these. I was going to watch Deep Rising because it's freaking awesome, and Death Race 2000 because it's not as awesome, but it's still quite fun. But I also dug out because I was trying to get clips to use in an intro video for the lives, which is what I've been working on. And so I was using DVDs to get clips, and I've got clips from Rambo 3 and To Live and Die in LA, and I wanted to get some clips from Rambo. So yeah, that's why the DVD's out. And I do have this on Blu-ray as well. This is the, oh, it's still in the DVD drive. So yeah, so this was what I was planning on using to get clips, and I managed to get some clips, and I've edited the thing. So when there's a few more people here, I'll try and show you the final version, which is going to probably play on the start of all the what they call them, start of all the streams. But I don't know how to do that. I haven't worked out how to do it yet. Do you think is the purple too dark? Should we change the purple to red? Or should we have green? No, I think the purple's fine. I quite like the purple. So, yeah, have a chat. Remember to guard your privacy and avoid community guidelines. I didn't even read the community guidelines, to be honest with you. So hopefully more people will join. Fingers crossed. Because we had a few people watching the other night. Oh, there's 2 people on here now. Live chat. That's what we want. There we go. Why was it on top chat? We want live chat. So this is quite boring. No one's talking. Hello everyone. All 2 of you. Now I know why some Twitch streamers and streamers aren't a fan of doing it. But then I'm not a streamer. This is the first time I've actually really done streams properly. But yeah, last night's was really good. So not last night's, Wednesday night. Well, it'll be Friday. Yeah, Wednesday night stream was really good. And yeah, so whoever's watching, guys, I say that I'm one of them watching. Who's the other one watching? If I close that, it'll drop to 1. Or will it? No, maybe not. Let's go back to YouTube. Keep telling me to remember. Ah, there we go. Peter Power Pop. Is that what it says? Peter Power Pop. I'm a little surprised that no one has said howdy yet. But then you're the only one watching. G'day, mate. How you doing? Thanks for watching. How is the Down Under? Well, thanks for watching, mate. We had 27 people the other night, and now there's only 2. But then it is Friday night, and I am not surprised people aren't here. They're probably out and about in the UK. I can imagine it's a tad warm at the moment, mate. It's bloody freezing here. What is the temperature in Australia at the moment? Let's check. 8:30 a.m. Oh yeah, shit, I forgot. Peter, what part of Australia are you in, mate? South Australia. I don't know the geography. Adelaide, there we go. I wasn't sure if like Sydney and stuff were down there. Can I add? Can I search? I can. Let's. Adelaide. What's the temp? 29 degrees. Bloody hell, mate. 29 degrees, which is, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit? Centigrade. Centigrade. 28 degrees centigrade. Fucking hell, that's hot for us. That is like, that's summer for us in Wales. That's 90-ish. Fucking hell. So in Wales, our summer lasts usually from the 17th of July until the 19th of July, and then it's rainy again for the rest of the month. Yeah, we don't have a summer in the UK anymore. There's a lot of memes about what it's like to live in the UK when the sun comes out. So I don't understand how anyone could live in the heat because we're not equipped for it in the UK. I love that your summer is literally winter for everybody else. We used to have a family friend who went to Australia at Christmas, and he was always just like, "Yeah, we spent Christmas Day on the beach." And I'm like, "Rub it in." But I can imagine, yeah, that would just be hot. So where I am so I'm in South Wales, which is um, surrounded by essentially mountains. And so when it gets really, really cold, we get snow, but it usually just stays on the mountains and doesn't come into the city. I mean, we had snow 2 days ago, and it lasted for all of about 5 minutes, and it didn't stay. But I remember when I was a kid, we used to have quite bad snow then, and we used to have proper snow. But obviously, global warming and all that jazz has prevented that from happening. Yet the rest of the UK always seems to get snow, except Cardiff, which kind of sucks. Boyo, alright, boyo. Proper banging it is, right? You can say boyo if you want, mate. If you say boyo, I'll say drongo. The geography of Wales is really cool. We have like insanely cheers, insanely like cool. Um, it's weird because if you look at like New Zealand and then you look at Wales, there's a very similar sort of geography to how we're surrounded by mountains and slate mines, and not slate mines, but slate heaps and stuff like that. So we are very similar in a way to New Zealand. But yeah, Wales is a beautiful country. The cities, not so much. It's just full of crackheads and shoplifters. But outside of the cities, to be fair, Cardiff's not that bad. Cardiff's all right. But outside of Cardiff, it's yeah, Wales is stunning. It's a gorgeous country. But then England's got some gorgeous scenery. So has Scotland. So has Ireland. Everywhere's got its beauty spots. Um, but yeah, a lot of Cardiff, as is the same as other like cities around the UK, all have what's the word for it? They all have the bad areas, but they also have their good areas. Like where I used to live was in an area that was quite gentrified. So it was a lot of coffee shops and big houses, not big houses, but like it was a large student area as well. So there was money coming in from students. There was money coming in from small businesses and like bistros and cafes and stuff. But then if you walk about 20 minutes in the opposite direction, you get to like housing estates and drop like a drop in sort of class, if you know what I mean. So it's not like I'm not saying I'm upper class because I'm not. I'm working class, but I was brought up in a way where you worked for everything. I mean, I worked 20 years, Nordic Noir and all that jazz. Yeah, so I worked for 20 years before I lost my last job, and everything that I own, I paid for and stuff. But then you go, like I said, you go a bit further out, and it's all housing estates and low income and benefits and stuff like that. I mean, like I since I lost my job, I have to now claim benefits, and I hate it because it makes me feel like a lower class, even though I'm not a lower class. I'm the same class. It's weird. It's a weird mentality to have. The United Kingdom is endlessly fascinating, mate. The history of the UK is insane. Like Wales has a history Because the interesting thing is Wales didn't really become a country until like 1957. I think it was 1957. Before that, it was known as a Principality of England. Um, Wales actually has two flags. We have a black flag with a yellow cross on it, which is the flag of Saint David, and then we have the obvious the famous Welsh dragon flag as well. Yeah, it was really late. It was late. I can tell you now. When did Wales become a country? Oh, the Welsh Language Act replied. When did? Oh, it was recognised as a country in 1536, but it wasn't separate from England, I think, until 1957 or something like that. It was quite late. It was quite late. Um, but yeah, Wales has a really interesting history when it comes to like the mythology of it. Like the story is that there's a like the reason why we have a red dragon is because there was a battle between a white dragon and a red dragon, and the red dragon won, and the white dragon was buried um, under like some mountain or something. It's all old school mythology and stuff like that, like the King Arthur tale and all that jazz. But it's an interesting like thing to read. Like I'm Welsh and I can't speak the language because of where I am. Cardiff is so so much closer to England than say the like West Wales or East Wales. Not East Wales, but West Wales and North Wales. But where I am, it's about a 40-minute drive from Cardiff to Bristol. Well, 45 minutes to an hour from Cardiff to Bristol. And if you drive from Cardiff to Gloucester, it's about 45 minutes, 50 minutes. So it's not very far away from the actual border of England, which is why a lot of people in Cardiff don't necessarily speak Welsh because it's not really used as much in the capital. Same as Newport and same as Cambran, same as well, they probably do speak more Welsh in Swansea than I believe. But yeah, interesting country, Wales. The whole of the UK is really fascinating though. There's a lot of places that are worth going. So, Peter, where would you like to go in the UK and visit? Anywhere particular? Scotland? Scotland looks lush. I've never been to Scotland. I've been to England many times, and obviously I'm in Wales. I'd love to go to Australia for like a short period of time. Yeah, Scotland. I think everybody's first thought would be Scotland because of all the Scottish people. Um, hey, Anthony. Good evening, Staffordshire. Yeah, Scotland would be cool. Yeah, I always wanted to go to Australia, but for like a very short period of time because of the spiders. I don't like spiders, and I really can't stand snakes either, so I wouldn't last very long. What is that? Early spring. Was that like August? I could do. I'd have to save up a lot of money first, but one day I will. I will try and get to Australia. See, Anthony, you having little memory of Newport is a blessing, mate. Newport's a shithole. The problem is you have to drive through Newport to get to Cardiff. The middle of the year is the best time weather-wise. Yeah, it's just such a flip side compared to everywhere else. Australia's weather pattern. I suppose it's because of the geography of where it is on the planet and the rotation of the Earth and the seasons and everything. It all just changes. But yeah, Aussie, mate. Yeah. So what's the place in? Is it Alaska? Nome, Alaska? Is it Nome? That like because of where it is, it's always the sun never sets. I think it's Nome, Alaska. Or they have sunset for like six weeks, and then the rest of the year is like no sunset. What was the film? 30 Days of Night. There we go. 30 Days of Night. So that was set in Nome, Alaska. And it was when the vampires came out because the sun went down. Is it Nome? Which one? I can't remember which one it is. Alexa, which city in Alaska does the sun not?
I know about 355 cities in Alaska, including Anchorage, Fairbanks,
All right,
Barrow,
stop.
and Nome.
Alexa, which city in Alaska does the sun not set?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor. Yes, the sun sets in Alaska in the summer. However, Barrow is one of Alaska's northernmost
Barrow.
cities and gets
That's
complete
the
darkness
one.
for 2 months out of the year. During the summer, the sun doesn't completely
Alexa,
set
shut
in
up.
Barrow.
Yeah, Anthony, it's not great. Um, yes, insomnia. Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised you managed to come out the other side of Newport with your tyres. I mean, there's areas of Newport, like I said, there's areas of Cardiff that are nice, but the majority of Newport's not that nice. But if you ever find yourself in Newport, stay away from Pilgwendy because that is it's a rough place to be. Oh, my light went off. There we go. It's a rough place. I ended up in 2001. I did a television and video production course in a community place in Pill, and I was there for about 5 minutes and was like, I want to go home. This is horrible. I didn't go home. I ended up making a video, but yeah, it's not a nice place to be. Where's my phone pinging? It's telling me I'm live. Yeah, so Peter, I had never seen Insomnia until this year. Hey, John. I'm doing good, mate. I'm not surprised the Nosferatu's been getting great reviews. It's a what's his name film? The guy who did The Lighthouse. Robert Eggers. There we go. And his movies seem to get great reviews every time he makes one. What was it? The Witch, Lighthouse, The Northman, and now Nosferatu. But Nosferatu does look pretty good. But yeah, Robert Eggers is an interesting director. Yeah, so LHY744PPP. Hello, mate. Haven't seen you around here for a while. Mind you, I haven't posted any videos. Do I like Woody Allen? Some Woody Allen. I'm not like massively into Woody Allen. I liked Sleeper, and I liked, what was the other one he did? Manhattan. I thought those were pretty good. But yeah, I'm not generally a Woody Allen person. I'm more of a Woody Harrelson person, or Woody from Toy Story person. But yeah, like I said, Sleeper was pretty good, and Manhattan was pretty good. What was the other one he did? With Diane Keaton. Annie Hall? I think I saw Annie Hall, and that was alright as well. Yeah, I can't say I'm an expert on Woody Allen, unfortunately. Well, the Beatles movie. I have seen the Beatles movie, A Hard Day's Night. I've seen A Hard Day's Night, and I've seen Help. And I watched Backbeat, which was about the previous drummer, which starred Stephen Dorff, Zelig, and Hannah and Her Sisters. Is Michael Caine in Hannah and Her Sisters? Yep. I thought it was, yeah. I know of them. Like I said, I'm not a huge Woody Allen person, but if they're recommendations, I can try and track them down. My taste in movies verges from classic 1950s westerns and musicals to 90s shit pop tank girl movies and Judge Dredd. That's it, the bassist. Yes, he is. What was his name? Pete Sutcliffe? Or is that the Yorkshire Ripper? Stuart Sutcliffe, there we go. Peter Sutcliffe was the Yorkshire Ripper. Okay, you don't want to get them mixed up. It was Stephen Dorff, wasn't it, who played him? Stephen Dorff played Stuart Sutcliffe in Backbeat. And I think he was in another film as well around the same time. The Power of One with Morgan. I think it was Morgan Freeman. It was about boxing. Oh, best Beatles tune. That is a hard one. I was listening to Number Ones the other day, and I have a soft spot for many of the Beatles songs. Yesterday, The Long and Winding Road, Help. I haven't got a straight up favourite Beatles song. Helter Skelter's pretty good as well. John, I have seen the majority of Black Mirror. I haven't had a chance to see some of the later ones though. I really like the ones with what was it? It was set in the 80s in a video arcade. That was really good. That one, and the one with Wyatt Russell as the video game tester in the house. That was pretty good. Peter, Backbeat's for some reason really hard to find now. I remember watching it on VHS years ago. Who played Laura Palmer? Who played Laura Palmer? Who did? Was it Sherilyn Fenn? I think it was Sherilyn Fenn played Laura Palmer, or was in Backbeat. Oh, Cheryl Lee. Sorry, not Sherilyn Fenn. Cheryl Lee. Yes, I was close. See, I said it was Sherilyn Fenn, but it wasn't. It was Cheryl Lee. I think Sherilyn Fenn was in Twin Peaks. I'm not sure because I haven't watched all of Twin Peaks. I do have Twin Peaks. I have the gold box. Sherilyn Fenn. Was she in? She wasn't in Twin. Oh yeah, she was in Twin Peaks. Sherilyn Fenn was in Twin Peaks. That's why I was getting confused. I've got the gold box DVD collection on the shelf, which is just there somewhere. Yeah, it's on the end, but I haven't watched Twin Peaks. Now I'm unemployed. I might as well get around to watching it. Well, the guy who played John Lennon has played him 3 times. What, played him 3 times in 3 different movies? Oh, Ian Hart. Yeah, Ian Hart. I'm not surprised Ian Hart has played John Lennon. He looks a little bit like him. Surprised they didn't get him for Yesterday, the movie, but they got Robert Carlyle, who also strangely looked a little bit like him. Who else was in? Who else played the Beatles in Backbeat? Gary Bakewell played Paul McCartney. Chris Neal played George Harrison. Worst movie ever? Anthony, I've got Tank Girl, Heavy Metal, and Slither. Those are the only 3 that I own, and they are really good, but they take too long to get to the UK, so I don't bother ordering that much. Although, if you are going to buy, double check do a Australian dollar to pound conversion, because when I saw it at first, I was just like, I'm not paying 45 quid for a Blu-ray, and it turned out that the conversion was about 27 quid. So I was just like, well, yeah, I'll pay that for it. Worst movie ever. LHY. So what is the worst movie I've ever seen? So there's a couple of films that I absolutely despise. One of the films is All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, which is a film with Amber Heard in it. I hated that film with a passion. What else did I hate? What else did I hate? I don't hate a lot of movies. I'm not fussed on a lot of them, but ones that I absolutely full on despise. and think they're the worst movies ever is essentially just All the Boys Love Mandy Lane because I hated it. I can pretty much watch anything and find some enjoyment from them, but I won't get any enjoyment from that movie, specifically that movie, because it's crap. Yeah, Anthony, make sure you do a Google currency conversion because yeah, you'll be surprised at how much you'll save compared to if you ordered it from the US. Do I like Hammer films of the 60s and 70s? Yes, John, I do like Hammer movies of the 60s and 70s. In fact, one of my favourite Hammer movies from the 60s and 70s is Quatermass and the Pit. I also really like To the Devil a Daughter, The Devil Rides In, Dracula is Risen from the Grave, I think. That it? I like a lot of the sci-fi stuff that Hammer did as well. But yeah, I do like Hammer movies. I like old British sci-fi and horror. I like how they look at like the sort of occult in the horror movies, and then like the really cheap alien stuff in in their sci-fi films. The Avengers from 1998 is a terrible movie, but it's so bad I find it quite enjoyable. It's a crap film, and Uma Thurman was miscast. Oh, it was released on Blu-ray this year. Okay, that's interesting. Thanks, Pete. Heavy Metal was, I think, released on DVD in the UK, but I don't think it's been released on. Well, has it? Because my DVD of Heavy Metal is from Korea, and my Blu-ray is from Australia. So yeah, you might be right. I don't think it did have a release, but I first saw Heavy Metal on VHS because it had a VHS release in the UK. But I also recorded it from TV. I think it was on Film 4, one of the Film 4 channels about 25 years ago. Yeah, so Pete, I grew up with it's a little bit different in my house. I grew up on old school 1930s and 1940s like musicals because my dad's a big fan of that period of time and period of movies, especially like the Rodgers and Hammerstein stuff and the like Gold Diggers of 1933 and stuff like that. But my mum was big into science fiction, so we grew up on Star Wars, Star Trek, and that type of stuff. We weren't really allowed to watch horror films as a kid, but as I grew older, I discovered horror films and just went back in time to discover those like older movies. Yes, with Nicole Kidman, I think she would have made a great Emma Peel, but I don't think Mel Gibson should have been in it. I think that would be bad casting. I think Ray Fiennes is actually all right in that. Yeah, LHY, Fred Astaire. But yeah, Nicole Kidman would have been a good Emma Peel. Yeah, so Fred Astaire movies, Ginger Rogers, Gene Kelly, Donald O'Connor, those people was what my dad used to love. Like the studio system musicals of the 40s and 50s and stuff like that. That's the stuff I was brought up on, watching things like On the Town and those type of films. On the Town. What else is there? Singing in the Rain, The Wizard of Oz with Judy Garland, fucking Top Hat, all these films, and like even the musical stuff from the '60s. So you got things like Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, South Pacific, The Sound of Music, Oklahoma. Those movies, those were the films that my dad made us watch when we were kids. Yes, John. Benedict Cumberbatch would make a great uh, Steed now. Oh, that's cool, Pete. Hey, Shane. Um, Thanks for loving the channel. Can I remember the first movie I watched, and can you remember the first film you watched at the cinema? I can remember the first film I watched at the cinema. I can't remember the first film I watched, but I have memories of watching certain films as a very small child. So the first film I remember seeing at the cinema was the film The Care Bears the movie. The first film I remember seeing properly or have earliest memories of would be the Empire Strikes Back. But then that's like sort of fragmented memory. The ones that I remember most from when I was a kid were Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf's probably the clearest in my mind as a film that I remember most as a child. But I can't remember exactly what the first film was that I watched. But I remember the first film I saw at the cinema. So Care Bears the movie, followed by Oliver and Company, which I think was in the same year. So yeah, that's an interesting question though, Shane. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't recall the first movie I ever watched. Like Empire Strikes Back might have been the first movie I've ever watched, but like I said, it's a fragmented memory. But I do remember the ones that I saw at the cinema. I remember the first Blu-ray that I bought, and I remember the first DVD that I bought. I can remember the first VHS movie that I bought with my own money as a teen, well, as a child. I'm not into Laurel and Hardy. Like the Laurel and Hardy and the Marx Brothers and those like type of double and triple acts weren't really my thing. They weren't really my dad's thing either. I mean, we never watched the Marx Brothers or like Laurel and Hardy and who was the other ones? The Three Stooges. There we go. So yeah, they weren't really big. It was more the big studio extravagant musicals and westerns and things like Gone with the Wind. Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Yes, yes. The original RoboCop is superb, and it's never been bettered. And I don't think they'll ever better it. "1976 King Kong" with Jeff Bridges. Got a free King Kong mask with the official Walls ice cream. That's really cool. Shame about the movie, but yeah, that's really cool. RoboCop is a blast, Peter. Yeah. I've got memories of going to see so many films in the cinema. I haven't been to the cinema since Deadpool 2 came out. That was the last film I saw at the cinema. But I remember seeing a lot of stuff. What did I watch? So in the 90s, they're okay. LHY, they're okay. Johnny. Yeah, not a chance of that happening in my house. Evil Dead, Child's Play. I had to find them by myself. I remember watching Highlander for the first time when I was like 9 at a friend's house. I fucking loved Highlander then. I still love Highlander now. God. Yeah. It's like I was saying, like Teen Wolf, because I had a I had a VHS tape that had Teen Wolf on, and it was recorded off the TV, and we used to watch it, but it had been recorded. It was recorded over something else as well, and the film that it recorded over was the film The Volunteers with Tom Hanks and John Candy, and I never ever saw anything apart from the last 25 minutes of that film, and I don't think I ever will, because I remember watching that at the ending of that film where they're trying to cross the bridge, and the, I guess Chinese, I'm not sure, are trying to blow it up. It's films at Christmas I remember the most: Jack and Giant Killer, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Stand Out Jaws and Pictures. That's really cool. Yeah, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is on BBC every Christmas. Jaws, I would love to see at the cinema. I did see all three Back to the Future films on 35mm in the Prince Charles Theatre in London, which was incredible. LHY, Monty Python, massive fan, mate. I am a huge fan of Monty Python. Like when I when I come through the door and my brother's here, I greet him by going, "Hello, miss," which is the opening line from the Parrot sketch. Yeah, Rowan Atkinson. Yeah, Mr. Bean was okay. I preferred Blackadder. In fact, I love Blackadder. Yeah. Yeah, I remember there only being 3 channels. Well, it was 4. That was what, 83 I was born. So the highlight, yeah, was a Bond movie on ITV. What else was there at Christmas? We used to go through at Christmas. Used to go through the Radio Times and just mark down every single film we wanted to watch. And I've been doing that for years. And you have a look at BBC One to see what the big film of Christmas Day was. And I remember when Back to the Future 3 was the big film of Christmas Day, which I think was like 1990 or 1991. Spam. Yeah. Spam, 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 egg and spam. Spam, 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 egg, spam and spam. Spam, egg and chips. No chips and no egg. Yeah, I love Monty Python. Yeah, I've heard that they're remaking a Highlander. They're remaking Highlander with Henry Cavill. I don't know how far along it's gone. Because I thought he was currently working on the Warhammer show for Amazon, so I'm not really sure how far along that film is. Maybe they're just in pre-production at the moment. But I don't particularly want to see a remake of Highlander. I think Highlander is perfectly fine as it is. And I like Henry Cavill. Favorite Bond girl? Ooh. Favorite Bond girl? I don't know. I don't really know. Like, there's a lot of the newer girls that obviously I find attractive. So, I'd say from the Daniel Craig era of Bond girls, I'd say Gemma Arterton and Anna de Armas. But from the classic, Michelle Yeoh in Tomorrow Never Dies. And is it Tomorrow Never Dies? Yeah, it is Tomorrow Never Dies. And Britt Eklund. Was it Britt Eklund? Was she the Bond girl in The Man with the Golden Gun? I might be wrong. Man with the Golden Gun. Who played her? Oh, it was Britt Eklund. Britt Eklund as Goodnight. There. In The Man with the Golden Gun. I wish to register a complaint. Rosamund Pike in Die Another Day. Yeah. I don't think the Children's Film Foundation should count. No, that's true. God, what happened to that? They used to be on all the time. Well, there was one with a giant bus, if I remember rightly. Yeah, Life of Brian. Yeah. So we grew up in my house. So my dad's best friend was a huge person. Well, was a huge fan of like Monty Python and stuff, and his sense of humor was very much on that like sort of level, like weirdest, absurdist sort of humor, and that kind of dissipated, not dissipated, what's the word for it, transferred to me and my brother. So me and my brother's sense of humor is very much along the same lines as like Monty Python style stuff. But yeah, my favorite Monty Python sketch is the cheese sketch, because it's just John Cleese listing a load of cheese, and the longer it goes on, the funnier it gets, because there's no comedy to it apart from just saying names of cheese. Also, like the dirty fork sketch, which just escalates and escalates and escalates to the point where the punchline just doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work. It doesn't hit because the punchline is not funny. It's the build up to the punchline that's the funniest part. It's the same as uh, the aristocrats joke. Like the punchline should never really be the funniest part of a joke. It should always be the build up to the joke, which is what's funny. And I think that's what Monty Python nailed. Finley, welcome back. Yes, check out Monty Python. Monty Python is great. I would say start with the movies, but I would start with Holy Grail, then Life of Brian, then Now for Something Completely Different, then watch Live at the Hollywood Bowl, and then watch the Flying Circus. Because if you get through the movies and then you get through the live, you'll be prepared for the absurdity that is the sketches. Arthur Two Sheds Jackson. Why do they call him that? Because he's got two sheds. Jane Seymour in Live and Let Die was very. Jane Seymour's still beautiful, Anthony. Yes, Jane Seymour has aged very, very well. And she looked great as Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, as well. Yeah, I'd say Monty Python did change comedy because before Monty Python, you only had people like Tony Hancock and Bob Monkhouse, and these sort of, I don't know how you, like Eric Sykes, these type of people. They were old school comics, but they were doing a sort of style of comedy that is very vaudevillian. So it comes across as quite old school. But where Monty Python came along, and they basically threw the comedy rule book out of the window and went with a very of the time style of comedy. But then you can look at the 1980s and with alternative comedy and things like The Young Ones and Filthy Rich and Cat Flap and Alexis Sale, Rick Mail, these type of people, they also changed how comedy is compared to what it is now, which is comedy now is it's not great. Comedy now doesn't really hit as well as comedy did back in the 80s and even in the 90s. And I think that's because times have changed and that people get offended by everything. So if you watch, like, I saw a couple of stand ups that I thought were great. And if you watch their live stand up stuff, it's really good. But if you watch stand up comedians on TV nowadays, they don't do stand up comedy. They do panel shows where they say a joke every now and then. Like, one of my favorite stand up comics is Greg Davis. And I think he's touring again at the moment. But like what I like about Greg Davis is that he doesn't really care what he says. But he does, but he doesn't. I don't know. Comedy is a very weird thing. It's also subjective. It's like film and music. Everything is subjective these days. If you don't like stand-up comedy or you don't like a certain type of comedy, then yeah, like not everything is going to be for people. But Monty Python did definitely change. Like, yes, there was the absurdist comedy of the Goons. What did I watch? I watched the clip the other day from, I think it was the Goon Show, which was the fly in the soup gag from different countries with Spike Milligan, and yeah, that was, we were fucking laughing our asses off. Yeah, so Johnny, I never got into the Bottom TV show, but I would love Bottom Live, and it was only a couple of years ago that I actually got into the actual show because I'd seen all the Bottom Lives. Bottom Live 3 is my favorite of the live shows. But yeah, only really got into the show the last couple of years. But again, so the sense of humors that we have in this well, between me and my brother is we both love the Bottom Live shows. We both love Spaced. We both love Monty Python. We both love like near the knuckle stand up comedy. And we just yeah, we have this sort of connection where neither of us get offended by anything these days, and that's how comedy should be. If you're offended by a joke, then you shouldn't be watching comedy because all it is a joke. It's a joke. It's not aimed specifically at you. It's aimed at a demographic as a joke. But yeah, I'm not going to get into the politics of comedy. The lives are all on YouTube. Yeah, I watched Bottom Live 3 about a week ago again, and I fucking loved it. Peter, my favourite Bond is Timothy Dalton, and I know he only did two, but for some reason he is the closest that I can imagine the description that Ian Fleming gave of Bond would be um, Timothy Dalton. I didn't watch League of Gentlemen. I watched Inside Number Nine instead, but like it was. I think I was watching. What was I? I was watching Spaced when I should have been watching. Well, not when I should have. Instead of watching League of Gentlemen, I was watching Spaced with Simon Pegg and Jessica Hines. So, Peter, the problem I have with the Bond movies is Sean Connery, fantastic James Bond. Like, he's the originator of the serious Bond role, not the Casino Royale, Robert Shaw Bond comedy spoof thing. Um, Roger Moore, I think, was a bit. He basically played the Saint instead of James Bond. Um, Johnny, if you're taking your 14-year-old to see the Book of Mormon, then I want to shake your hand, mate, because anything that those two people write, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, should be seen by every single person because those two men are fucking geniuses. Alfredo with Dustin Hoffman. I've never heard of that. Alfredo. Hey, don't worry about it, Bryce. We've just been talking about comedy. Alfredo. Alfredo with Dustin Hoffman. No, never heard of it. It's an Italian movie by the sounds of things. Yeah. Yeah, so Roger Moore was very. You're right. It was wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Uh, yeah, I get. Yeah, I get that. It kind of took Bond from slightly more serious in the Sean Connery era to a bit more parody, I guess. I'm not saying all out parody because some of the Roger Moore films are fantastic. They started to go downhill as he got older, and the late 70s, early 80s. But yeah, he was a decent. He was an interesting Bond. George Lazenby was a good Bond for the one movie that he did. What was the joke from League of Gentlemen with the police officer? He's looking for a boy. Puffter, eh? No, but Lazenby, a lot of people consider Lazenby to be a really good Bond, and the On Her Majesty's Secret Service is quite possibly the best of the Bond films. Yeah, he did bring fun to the role, but like what I like about Daniel Craig's Bond is that it was Bond updated for a modern audience. And yeah, it could have been a little bit cheesier, or a little bit camper, but I think compared to the other movies that are coming out, what were coming out around the same time, especially action films, um, having it be more serious kind of worked in its favor. And yeah, I think I quite like the Daniel Craig Bond films. But again, I'm old school Bond. I grew up on the classics. Like I'll watch the classic Bond films more than I'll probably watch the Daniel Craig films. But yeah, yeah, it's a shame that Lazenby only did the one. Yeah, you're right. The Bond franchise basically did realign the Bond movies, especially Quantum of Solace, which had the wrong film director behind that film, and he just took inspiration from the Bourne movies, and most of the action in that film was like you couldn't really see much was going on because he tried to do what the Bourne movies did, and whereas the Bourne Identity, being directed by Doug Liman, had a more sort of easier approach to action. Um, Paul Greengrass was just like with the camera. It's like keep the fucking camera still, mate. Sean's your favourite, is it? Yeah, Sean is Sean. Like I said, Sean Connery is like is the Bond, if you know what I mean. Yeah, the Brosnan Bonds were okay. He was a good Bond. It's just I thought the films, apart from Goldeneye, they just weren't great Bond movies. Like Goldeneye's a really good movie. It's a great action movie, but like Tomorrow Never Dies, it's not great. It's not a good film, and the villain is rubbish. He's the editor of a newspaper. Um, the World Is Not Enough was okay, but again, the villains were rubbish. I mean, you had Robert Carlyle had a bullet stuck in his head, so he couldn't feel pain, and you also had that really stupid Doctor Christmas Jones, played by Denise Richards. Like no one in the world would have ever taken Denise Richards serious as a scientist. Well, Peter, the only reason the Quantum of Solace is the easiest Daniel Craig film to watch is because it's the shortest, and a lot of stuff happens in a. It's not a slow movie. It it's paced quite well. Um, LHY, I think we've gone over the best Bond actor, mate. Everyone's gonna have different opinions on who the best Bond actor is. If we're having the best person who appeared in a Bond movie, who happens to be an actor but not in the role of James Bond, then Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee. And then Javier Bardem. And then Christoph Waltz as actors. See, no, I don't. I don't think he is the best actor who played Bond. I think he's a good Bond, but I don't think he's the best Bond. I think he's Bond for now. I didn't know they did James Bond comic strips. That's pretty cool. I think, yeah, I maybe because I'm biased that he's my favorite Bond, but I think Timothy Dalton was the best Bond. But then, like I said, it's all opinion. It's everyone has their own opinion on who was who. Oh, Sean's the best for you. Yes, fair enough. Could be Bryce. Could be. It could be. Like I said, like they are good movies. Oh yeah, so he is the best actor to have played Bond. Um, Sean Connery later on would have been the best actor to have played Bond, not when he was playing Bond. I don't think Roger Moore would have ever been classed as the best Bond, was the best actor to play Bond. Best Batman, Adam West. No, best Batman is I'm going to say Michael Keaton because that was the first movie Batman I ever saw, and I think again like that's gonna give you like especially movie wise that's gonna give you like a starting point. Like don't get me wrong, Val Kilmer I thought was really good as in Batman Forever. Um, the less said about George Clooney, the better. As Batman, I like George Clooney. Um, Christian Bale was good. He is good, but he's like too throwy. And I can't comment on Robert Pattinson yet because I haven't watched The Batman. The fuck is Lewis Wilson? Yeah, it is a fun. It's a stupid movie. It's a fun movie, and I love the fact that Joel Schumacher apologized for it afterwards. Everybody likes Adam West because it's Family Guy. Like his Batman is just really cheesy. But then that's what they did in the '60s. That's all they knew. If you look at Bob Kane's like comic books from that era, I do. This one's actually this is a Teen Wolf T-shirt. Pretty much all my T-shirts are movie T-shirts. I also have this one, Akira. So yeah, most of my T-shirts are movie T-shirts. What from the old 1930s serials? Oh, the 1943 one. He played the original Batman. Oh. I did not know that. I've never really watched the old classic Batman show. I was more Lois and Clark in the 90s with Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher person. Yeah. I don't have a Hot Fuzz t-shirt. No, I would love to get a Hot Fuzz t-shirt. I do have a Shaun of the Dead t-shirt though, but it's a Shaun the Sheep of the Dead t-shirt. Let me see if I can find it. It's a red t-shirt. It's really cool. Yeah, this is a really cool t-shirt. This is my Shaun of the Sheep t-shirt. It's really cool. It's one of my favourite t-shirts. There's lots of t-shirts I want. I want a Beverly Hills Cop t-shirt, but I can't find them anywhere. I could probably get one printed up, but I don't want to spend the money on printing something like that up. So yeah, lots of movie t-shirts. That narrows it down, mate. Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl, yes. Nice. Yeah. What happened to Alicia Silverstone? She was big in the 90s and then just vanished. What was it? Clueless? Excess Baggage with Benicio del Toro. Batman and Robin. Maybe it was Batman and Robin that killed her career at the point. I know she's shown up since. John, the way I do it is I go on eBay and I look for movie t-shirts and I don't pay more than $7.99 per t-shirt. They're not official. I mean, the Shaun the Sheep one is an official one. This is not official. This is a print-on-demand thing, I think. But yeah, I mean, I was in HMV and like they were selling a t-shirt, a movie t-shirt for $19.99. It's like, who's going to pay 20 quid for a Fruit of the Loom t-shirt with, I don't know, Wolverine printed on the front? I liked Alicia Silverstone. Let's not bash Alicia Silverstone. She had a better career than Heather Graham, and I used to get those two mixed up. Well, she had a more interesting career than Heather Graham. Because Heather Graham did, what, Boogie Nights and then just vanished. I say vanished, she did do other stuff, but it wasn't like anything noteworthy. And again, she's had a resurgence. Same with, like, Elizabeth Shue. Like Elizabeth Shue, she was big in the 80s, so she did Adventures of Babysitting, then Karate Kid, and she was Jennifer 2 in Back to the Future 2. And then she kind of didn't do anything, and then appeared in Leaving Las Vegas with Nicolas Cage. And then she didn't do anything again. Why am I pinging again? Marvel Entertainment. Celebrate the holidays the Marvel way. No, thank you. Hundreds of people affected by what? affected by the Manchester Arena bombing cannot continue legal action against MI5 judges rule. Well, stupid. In Carnley Street. Are you typing very, very fast? Yeah, she was in The Saint with Val Kilmer. You're right, Anthony. Yes. But does anyone else really remember The Saint with Val Kilmer? I say that. I own The Saint on DVD. I've got it somewhere. I think it's in one of the bags. I feel really bad for Val Kilmer. Right, what time are we? 11 o'clock. So how's everyone's Friday night going? Everyone having fun with me here? Let's flip to Facebook. Right, guys, I am thinking of calling it a night. I've been on for nearly 78 minutes, and I desperately need a cigarette. So I am going to call it here. Thanks, everyone, for chilling out. Yeah, it's I quite like doing these stream things. Yeah, it's nice not being out in the cold, isn't it, Anthony? I'll try and do more streams. Probably won't do one tomorrow. Might do one Sunday. I don't know yet. I'll think about it, but I'll post it up beforehand. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for chatting with me and having a fun time. So yeah, cheers. Thanks, Shane. Hope everyone has a really good night. I am going to close this bad boy down. Good night, John. Everyone have a good one. As usual, salute, peace sign. I'm out. Cheers, guys.